Hi, and welcome back to Small Caps. I'm your host, Jess Fertig, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing the MD and CEO of CGN Resources, Mr. Stan Wholley. So CGN is a newly ASX-listed company targeting the discovery of copper and nickel and other strategic metals in West Arunta in WA. Hi, Stan. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Jess. Good to see you again.
So now, Stan, the company just completed a $10 million oversubscribed IPO in October, and in a very short last couple of months, the company has already completed its maiden drill program at Tantor and is awaiting assays. So for those of us who are new to the story, would you mind just giving our Small Caps audience just a brief overview of the company, where your assets are located, and what you're exploring for?
Yeah, 100%. We listed on the back of a very large tenement package up in the West Arunta. So we've got the best part of 1,000 square Ks up there. It's a pretty hot sort of destination at the moment. We've had, some of our neighbours, WA1 and Encounter, have had some success in their ground to the north of us. It's a busy district. Rio Tinto has a big JV that they're operating with a private company, Tali, just to our west, and they've been quite active out there as well. And there's us, and IGO also has quite a bit of ground and have had some discoveries. So the ground itself, I guess, has been highlighted for some time as probably what would you say, sort of the last frontier of unexplored Proterozoic rocks, which are quite prospective for IOCG style mineralisation. There's potential for nickel sulfides. There's definitely the potential for rare earths. And so the company was originally, the original ground package was picked up for diamond exploration, actually, and the team that had it there did find Australia's largest kimberlite field, and I guess that prospectivity still remains. But they also collected a lot of really good data, drill data, geochemistry data, various geophysical surveys, and we've used that data to, I guess, revisit the project, and we've come up with 6 high priority targets. There's a bunch of other sort of targets that sit behind that, but our 6 main targets are really targeting IOCG. So we've got 4 targets that really have that sort of target as the basis, and then a nickel target, our Shep target, and a rare earths target. So we've got a really busy agenda out in front of us. We have just listed, and you're right, it was a really, I guess, busy time just post-listing. We got drill rigs out on the ground. We've done a major heritage survey, which has cleared all of our programs out for all of 2024 and probably some of 2025. We did a really big survey. So we're now really in planning, got to finalise the sort of data we've collected from the Tantor hole, and then planning out for next year, where we've got a whole bunch of programs planned.
Yes, thanks, Dan. So now, just talking about the Tantor hole that you've just mentioned now, can you elaborate on sort of the significance of the ultramafics that you found in that drill hole, and when we can sort of start to expect to see assay results?
Yeah, so look, the hole itself was planned to hit, it was targeting IOCG, and it was a deep, true exploration hole targeting a gravity anomaly. And we went out there, did the drilling, and in the upper part of the hole, we weren't really expecting to hit them, but we did hit these quite significant ultramafic sills. They're sort of 20 to 25 metres thick. There was some, sulfides in them. Our XRF that we had, our field portable XRF, sort of demonstrated that there is some elevated nickel in there. So I guess, in terms of our IOCG target there, it probably is not that significant. But for our Shep target, which is one of our sort of key targets for next year, we'd postulated that there was potential ultramafics there, just given the geochemistry of some nickel hits we'd had there. So to now find ultramafic rocks, which were unknown in the area before, is a really significant, I guess, genetic indicator that ultramafic rocks with elevated nickel are present. So we're really quite excited by that. The results, they went into the lab 2 weeks ago. The labs are busy, so we're expecting those maybe by the end of the month, but probably more likely early Jan. We're really excited to see what's in there, because it really does it opens up a whole new target style at our Tantor target, because there is some aeromagnetic signatures that we didn't target with this drilling. We targeted the gravity anomaly, so it gives us some confidence to go back to Tantor and target it in perhaps a different way to what we had. It also gave us a lot of geology data in this area. It had never been drilled this region before. And so we'll use those data that we've collected also to revisit our gravity modelling and geophysical modelling in general, to see if we need to drill deeper than we drill, so we can go back down this hole and test deeper, should if the modelling suggests that's worthwhile. And at any rate, we'll definitely be targeting these ultramafics in subsequent programs next year.
Yeah, fantastic, Stan. Now, you've mentioned, geophysical surveys, and your announcement this week has highlighted, an extensive plan of that, ground gravity, IP, EM. What sort of specific information, for the purposes of our audience sort of understanding, what specific information are you hoping to gather from each of those, methods? And how is it going to refine your sort of drilling targets and strategy for next year?
Yeah, so we used the information that we had available prior to listing, obviously, and we had some detailed aeromag and a quite detailed airborne gravity survey, which allowed us to, come up with what we think are really interesting and high quality targets. Whenever you're using geophysics, there seems to be a never-ending stream of other geophysics you can do to refine those targets. And it isn't just about refining the targets so we can spend our drill dollars in the most effective ways, targeting the best parts of our targets. So we're doing IP pretty much over all of our IOCG targets, which is Tantor, Snorky, Horton and Surus. And we're also doing ground gravity surveys over those ones. So the ground gravity will help us refine our airborne gravity data. It'll improve our understanding of the depth potential of these things, the aerial extent of them, and really give us a good chance to position our drill rig in the best location to target success. And the IP is really to test if there is sulfides present. You don't really see those in gravity. It's really looking for density, and you can sort of infer that perhaps there is some sulfides there. The IP is really about seeing if we can target those specifically, and then we'll use that in combination with the gravity data to position those holes in the best locations we can. We're fortunate that we have heritage survey clearance for between sort of 10 and 20 holes at each location. So we do have the ability to sort of move that target and drill whatever holes we do drill in those best locations. The EM survey we're doing is over Shep. EM lends itself to targeting, when you're looking at nickel sulfide type deposits, it's, I guess, the go-to method. Some people like to use airborne EM for that. It tends not to penetrate as deeply as ground EM does. So we've elected to go the ground EM route, because we already have a pretty clear idea of what we think our target looks like from the aeromag and from a couple of drill holes. So we're really just, again, targeting that sort of broader area. They're a little bit more broad in their scope to really see where we might drill at Shep, because we'll be drilling that with RC, and so we'll probably put a few more holes in it. The other holes are deeper RC pre-collars with diamond tails for the IOCG ones, and so we'll probably drill one hole in each as a starting point, If we have success, we're fortunate that the heritage surveys give us the opportunity to then drill, a number of holes around it. So at this stage, it's like we don't have an endless supply of funds, but we are planning to do really significant programs out there this year. We're probably going to spend $3.5 million doing all of these programs. So it's going to be a busy and very interesting year for the company.
Yeah, absolutely, Stan. Now, you mentioned sort of some of your kind of drilling prioritization. With the 6 primary targets already identified through previous sort of early exploration, what factors are going to determine the order of diamond and RC drilling for 2024?
Well, logistical availability of drill rigs and weather and all of those things will certainly dictate exactly where we're going to drill and when we drill them. But our plan is to get on the ground and do the ground geophysics as early as we can. We've already got the ground gravity contractor sort of signed up and ready to go in late February. And we would like to get all of them on the ground about that time. We're still sort of going through the request for quote and actually picking which contractors we want to use for the ground geophysics. So they'll be out there February, March. We'd look to get the drill rigs on site, sometime in April. Hopefully we'll look to have all the data back from those ground geophysics before we, select exactly where we're going to drill. But once we get that RC rig on site, it will almost certainly go to the Surus target first to drill a pre-collar. And we're going to go there first, 1, because we really like the target, 2, because we have EIS funding to drill that hole, and we sort of have to have that done by the end of May. So that'll be a priority target for both the RC and the diamond drilling. But we'll sort of stagger the start of that. So the RC will happen first. We'll go and do the pre-collar for Surus, probably drill Shep in the next instance, just because of access and availability of drill holes. And then we'll probably do the pre-collars for some of the other diamond drilling. And then we'll get the diamond rig on site, and that'll head out and start drilling Surus. And then we'll just sequentially move that. And at the same time, once we're finished with Shep and the pre-collars for the diamond holes, we'll then move to the Hathi target, our rare earths target up in the north, and drill a few holes in that. So yeah, it's quite it's always one of those things. You sort of make the best plans you can to get things done, but really it comes down to rig availability and weather and all of those things. So we'll just play that by ear. But that is our plan for now.
Yes, one thing that's not setting you back though is the funding side of things, because you guys, as mentioned, you did raise $10 million in your IPO just 2 months ago. And you also mentioned EIS funding grant as well. How confident are you in terms of securing additional EIS funding for future drilling programs? Is there a potential there? Can you give us a bit of background in how you secured that funding in the first place?
Yeah, look, I guess the type of work that we're doing out at the project is well aligned with the objectives of EIS funding. The idea is for the state government to provide a little bit of additional funding support for companies to go and do true and really interesting exploration. And I would say our Shep target, originally I had some EIS funding for along with Tantor, and then we changed tack to go from a full RC program to a diamond program. And so we actually did receive funding for the Shep target previously. So I'm confident, I'm reasonably confident that if we apply for funding on that again, which we will do in the February round, we'd like to think that we got funding for it before, so there's a good chance we'll get funding for it again. I think our Hathi target also is a really interesting target. It's no one's really targeted rare earths out there before. So yeah, we'll apply for EIS funding for both of those programs and see how we go. You never know. It's always a very competitive process. and it really depends on, I guess, the quality of our asset, and we think that's high. But there's a lot of other people that also apply for this funding, so we'll be grateful if we get it. But it certainly won't stop us if we don't. As you sort of alluded to, we're really fortunate that we were able to raise enough funds really to keep us exploring really actively out there for 2 to 3 years, I would say. If we make a discovery, of course, then we'll accelerate that, and that gives us, it's great to be in that position as well. It gives us a really flexible approach to what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely, Stan. Now, going back to what the EIS funding was granted for, your Shep anomaly. So the announcement this week mentions that you're going to do an EM survey specifically for Shep. I know you mentioned it a little while ago, but can you explain the rationale, behind focusing on this target through electromagnetic exploration?
Yeah, so the target itself was based, I guess, on a geochemical target from drilling. It was one of those things that often happens in exploration. They were looking for a kimberlite pipe, and the hole was positioned in the wrong location. And they drilled down to sort of 100 meters and didn't hit the kimberlite they were hoping for. But what they did find was a couple of meters at above 1% nickel, and that occurs in sort of a 30-meter zone above 0.5% nickel. And a lot of the other geochemistry, it's like really high in chromium, it's high in vanadium, it's reasonably high in titanium. It's got a lot of other indicators that it's probably got a mafic magmatic source, and it overlies. When we sort of went back and looked, the aeromag has this really interesting sort of still-like feature, and so we said, well, maybe there is ultramafic sills or mafic sills here, and we should have a good look at that, both with drilling and with some more ground geophysics. And the logical choice, and it's what is used, I guess, throughout industry, if you're targeting sort of nickel sulfides in ultramafics, then you use EM to do it. And we've selected ground EM, as I said before, because it gives you the best chance to penetrate as deep as you can, and really then sort of allows us to say, okay, where is the best part of the target? Does it come to surface somewhere? Is it deeper? Is it better deeper? So there's a lot of reasons to collect that data, and then we'll use that, as I said before, to refine our drill targeting. We'll sort of, the initial RC holes will, I guess, be in the region of that sort of discovery hole, but there's a couple of other holes in that area as well which don't have quite as high tenor of nickel, but there is certainly other holes in that Shep target area that do have elevated nickel, sort of up to 0.5% nickel. So we're pretty excited about getting out there.
Yeah, I find it so interesting, Stan, even from our first conversation that we had a little while ago, that this area was originally exploring for kimberlites, diamonds, and now it's kind of pivoted. So it'd be really interesting to see. I'll be watching closely to see what your exploration programs come back with. Obviously, you're targeting nickel. But yeah, just want to chat sort of lastly about your 2024 milestones. Beyond receiving your lab results that you expect sort of in early January, what are some of the key milestones that CGN Resources aims to achieve in the first half of 2024?
Yeah, so we get the results back, and we then move towards getting on the ground. So we've got I've outlined it to some extent already, but we want to be on the ground in February doing our ground geophysics. That'll be the first big milestone. We'll be getting back onto the ground. We'd like to think that we're successful with our new EIS application, which happens around that same time. So I think that opens or closes in February, and you sort of get the results in March. And then we transition to drilling, RC first, sometime in April, diamond in May, and then we'll just be sort of leapfrogging those things through the rest of the year depending on what we discover. When you're doing exploration, you can sort of have the best plan you like. But if you have, a major discovery or something, things change very quickly. So that's what we're hoping will happen. That we'll be successful at one or more of our targets, and we'll then be charging for the rest of the year doing drilling. So that's really our plan. And it's one of those things. Our next door neighbours. WA1 went there looking for IOCG deposits. They've found this really amazing carbonatite, and that literally could exist within our tenure as well. Obviously, Encounters, their sort of northern neighbour, has also hit that, and they do tend to come in clusters. So there's a lot of things that could happen to us over the course of next year, and we're absolutely excited to get moving on it.
Yeah, fantastic, Stan. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's quite difficult to kind of pinpoint exactly what milestones you want to achieve when you're sort of early exploration, but you guys have got 6 really key targets. You've got a lot of geophysics happening, and yeah, quite a busy first half of exploration that's going to take place in 2024. So yeah, all the best with that. But one final question for you, Stan, before we leave. Just, 2 or 3 key takeaways as to why you think CGN should be on investors' watch list.
Look, I think the key thing is we're in a fantastic location to make discoveries. Our neighbours have demonstrated that it is. Like, pretty much everyone who's gone looking in this part of the world in the last few years has found something interesting. So I think our ground package is large, and as you say, we've got good targets in it. So I think just the quality of our asset is the first point. We're very fortunate to have raised $10 million. I'd say we were probably the most successful junior exploration float last year from that standpoint. Having money in the bank frees you to do really high quality geoscience and really target success as fast as possible, and we don't have to go back to the market, so investors will not be diluted in any way over this first part of exploration. And I think we represent incredibly good value as well. We've got a tightly held share structure. Our share price, I'd like to think it can't go much lower than it is right now. We're sort of cash backed with an EV of maybe $4 million, which seems like incredible value when you look at it compared to our neighbours who have made discoveries, and it's transformed their companies. So that's what we're hoping for. And so if investors are looking for something to watch, I would say, definitely get us on your watch list now. It probably won't be, well, I like to think it will probably never be cheaper than it is today, but you can never be sure in this world. So I would just say, get on the watch list and follow our story. We sort of believe in getting the information that what we're doing, what our results are, and what our plans are out into the market pretty regularly. So stay tuned.
Lots of news flow coming up, and no doubt CGN is in a very, very good position, unlike a lot of juniors out there in the market at the moment. Completely agree on the, one of the most successful IPOs this year. There hasn't been many. So yeah, congratulations, Stan. Haven't seen you since the last time we chatted before the IPO. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, Stan. Looking forward to seeing some of the drill results come out early next year and getting you back on the show to chat about those and what you guys are doing next.
100%. So look, thanks for the opportunity to have another chat and get our story out there. As I said, I think it's a really exciting time to start watching the company. We're really at the start of a big journey. If you sort of go back and look through our prospectus, pretty clear what our objective is. It's to go and do high quality exploration and make a major discovery in a really interesting part of the world. So I'm very excited.
Fantastic, Stan. Well, all the best and take care. We'll chat soon.
All right. Cheers. See you later.